Hello. Today we will be playing Suzerain. Suzerain? You opened your eyes to this world. You came from a wealthy family in the city of Lachavane, a middle-income family in the city of Hozord, an impoverished family in the city of Dare. Oh, okay, I choose. 1908 Kingdom of Sordland. Let's become impoverished. Your parents' name, you, Anton. As the only child of a farmer, you spent your childhood amongst wheat fields. Life was not easy. You were too poor to afford a good education. The Rayne family was caring regardless of the economically dire situation. Your parents always did their best to support you. During a history class at school, the bell started to ring unexpectedly. You heard a loud commotion outside as everyone tried to figure out what was going on. The principal announced the historic revolution. The kingdom was no more. The Republic of Sordland was born. I did not fully understand. After graduating, you passed the university exam with high marks. Even though your family was poor, the public education system made it possible to go to university. You had the opportunity to choose between several studies. You chose law, economics, history, law. During the first year, you attended a lecture with Davy Ritchie. He was a well-known diplomat from the foreign ministry and the son of the president. After observing in the hall in silence, he explained how the Supreme Court is obstructing justice in Sordland. He stated that law should be applied fairly and that even the members of the Supreme Court are subject to the same laws. I agree in principle. Soldiers entered the campus in the evening, ahead of the first election. Many were in shock as the uniformed men created a security cordon and started arresting the teachers. A group of students started gathering in protests. Along with your best friend Peter Vector, you decided to protest with the students. One of the officers made a loud announcement that echoed through the campus. General Lutheran declared martial law in order to restore the administration. Please stand back and disperse to your rooms. You joined the students that slowly marched towards the large group of soldiers. Suddenly, the soldiers charged. The student fell and was trampled as everybody started running away. You held your ground. The soldiers beat you relentlessly. It was a gloomy year. The arrested teachers were replaced by those that promoted conformism to the state. You also turned a blind eye to things that were happening. You didn't want to stay idle and decided to join. A student council. The council was focused on increasing the student involvement in the campus along with partaking in the budget. Through active participation, you gained budget management and leadership skills. In one of the meetings, Peter introduced you to one of his friends, Monica, who was a volunteer at the Soldiers League of Women. You were immediately attracted to her beauty, diligence, intelligence. The politically charged environment led you to the Young Swords. The radio relayed that the Communist General Ricard surrounded Lutheran and his troops demanding to surrender. They refused and heavy fighting broke out across the country. Just couldn't believe it. The army was fighting amongst themselves. Sordland plunges into chaos. Ricard's sudden attack caused even more bloodshed in the country. He seemed different compared to fascist Lutheran. In your opinion, however, he was more of the same. So you participated in a protest march. You were chanting, "United we stand, divide we fall." You were marching against Ricard. The students and soldiers supporting the coup gathered a few hundred meters away. Many socialists were among them. You knew something was going to happen. You stayed. There was a massive clash between the two sides. Soldiers began to beat the students. Tanks started rolling forward. In this chaotic moment, you saw a young girl about to get run over by a tank. You ran to save her. But you couldn't reach her in time. You never forgot her face. The clash had escalated into a full-blown civil war. The horrors made you isolate yourself for a while. Monica helped you cope, and love grew between the two of you. However, it was a difficult time for love. Chaos must end. The charismatic Colonel Tarkin's soul orchestrated a sudden coup and brought an end to the chaos. He wrote a new constitution, restored stability. People saw him as a savior. He formed the United Sordland Party and ran as a presidential candidate in the first ever elections. USP won the election by a large majority. After graduation, he kept seeing Monica and noticed her interest to marry him. However, a letter arrived from the military calling you to fill your compulsory service. It was time to serve your national duty. A devastating civil war broke out in neighboring country Switzerland. The distinguished Major Losaf Lancy ordered you to lead your squadron on a border patrol mission. It was a very cold winter night when you began marching out of a Gumran outpost. You could see your breath. After several hours of marching through the snowy hills, distant noises were heard. Visibility was too low to confirm the sources. The squad crawled forward in formation, found a spot to observe. A group of refugees had made it beyond the border fence. You let them split through. After the patrol, Major Lancy arrived with anger and immediately relieved you of your command, calling you a disappointment. One of your squad members had reported your actions. After several months of scrubbing the floors as a punishment, your duties ended and you went back to civilian life. You and Monica decided to share your lives together. After receiving the blessing of your parents, a ceremony was held in Holsworth. During the same year, you worked hard to secure a high-paying job at the governing United Sordland Party. It was much more difficult to start your career on a good foot because of the refugee incident, but you still managed. Go with compensation. You became the legal assistant to one of the more experienced members of the assembly. You worked hard and long, staying late at work, going through hundreds of pages of legal documents. You were climbing the ladder. Seoul strengthened the Republic by removing the institutions and symbols of the former kingdom from society. Things were also looking up for the country as the massive economic boom continued. People were the happiest they had been in a decade. Election time came and it was decided. President Tarkin's soul was elected once more. The ongoing legal battle between the Justice Ministry and the Supreme Court put you under a lot of stress. But your significant contribution to the legal case triggered an invitation to meet President Tarkin Sol himself, who offered you a key position. You were to become the youngest member of the assembly. I accepted with doubts. As the youngest MP, it was difficult to connect with the official inner circle. You need allies, so you brought Peter as your right-hand man. The birth of your son, Frank, provided a brief moment of joy in relief. You sacrificed work to spend time with your family. During your absence, Peter found trustworthy contracts and strengthened your position to the party. At the same time, President Sol increased his authority over the years. His growing ego started to cause strife within the party. The cracks began to show. President Sol barely secured a majority in the election against opposition leader. Over the past year, people were growing discontent with corruption and the worsening quality of life. Meanwhile, calls for the United Sordland Party Congress became louder as the leadership struggled to brew. The contender for party leadership was Edward Alfonso, a reformist and talented business magnate with a growing popularity within the party. You're trying to secure votes for President Sol, who noticed your loyalty and approached you with a lucrative deal. You had a meeting with him. Offered you the position of Minister of Justice and Law in the next government if you backed him in the coming vote. Party Congress was nothing short of impressive. Banners of United Sordland decorated every possible spot. Thousands of influential political figures, lobbyists, and benefactors gathered for this turning point. The voting for the party leadership began. Fortunately, Sol lost the leadership vote to Alfonso with a small margin. During the Congress, Sol announced his retirement from politics. The system he had established were to stay much longer. His achievements wouldn't be forgotten. A month later, your daughter was born. Monica named her Dina. She motivated you. Tumultuous period in the party. General elections were approaching. The United Sordland Party was under the new leadership of Edward Alfonso. You During the general elections, the main opposition leader was embroiled in a sex scandal with his secretary, diminishing their chances. The extensive privatization program proposed by Ewald Alfonso secured an election victory over the United Sordland Party. Over in the next year's you The presidency of Ewald Alfonso saw many bold reforms but was followed by a serious economic recession. The other parties announced their bids for the 1953 election, but the unfair system has hampered all opposition's efforts to win. You Together with Peter, your presence in the USP grew, and you became the face of a new wing in the party. You effectively took over the leadership as President Alfonso lost control of the country. The moment to make a move had come. You didn't take your advice seriously and started to reshuffle his cabinet, but most of his inner circles abandoned him. Your diplomatic attitude made the party vote for you as a new leader. Following this, you announced that you would be running for president in the general election with Peter as your running mate. After visiting every city and town during the campaign, you made a speech on state television. You promised to great nation of Sordland. Due to the incompetent leadership, enemies both internal and external are influencing our glorious nation. Today, more than ever, we need to unite under one flag and protect our values. Kirchi, Sordland. On election day, millions went out to cast their votes. Wow. Okay, what just happened? Chapter 1, President Rayne. Was that the whole game? Antoine Rayne. I'm just gonna go keep clicking until I stop, and it'll be random. This is what I will look. Okay. As Anton Rayne, you have made many promises to the people of Sordland. In order to gain their votes, they must be considered very carefully. Economy. 2 weeks have passed since we won the election. Now I was about to be sworn in as the fourth president of Sordland. Thousands were marching the inauguration ceremony and cheering my name, Anton Rayne. The die was cast. And there was my story. In the distance, a maroon palace stood on top of the famous Hill of Pride. I had no way of knowing what future awaited me there. I looked at my family, my son and daughter, Frank and Diana. Tina were next to Monica, my wife. Her eyes were glimmering with pride. Then I turned towards the key people. We made it all possible. Of course, each individual was promised an important position in my cabinet. As my thoughts slowly faded away, the reality of the situation dawned on me. Arso Hawker, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, was waiting for me. Time for the oath has come. Please repeat after me. I do solemnly swear I will respect, execute the office of the President of Sordland, and to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend. You may now deliver your inauguration speech. My fellow swords. The crowd looked very eager to listen to me. You, the people, have chosen together. We will bring prosperity and reform to our nation. It is time of hope. It is time of change. If we stand times of conflict and economic hardship too, but when we stood together, we prevailed. The future awaits us. Sordland is above all in the world. It is time for a united and powerful Sordland once again. Hundreds of thousands cheered. They were shouting my name in unison. I felt the responsibility, the power, and the burden all at the same time. I took a long look at the people of Sordland to burn this moment into my memory. One of the presidential guards came, but to notify that it was time to leave. Sergio Wagner. Hello, Mr. President. If you allow me to introduce myself, I am Sergio, your new driver. He respectfully bowed his head, but opening the car door and gesturing inside, I entered the car. We will be heading towards the palace. The motorcade began to move. On the way, Sergio proceeded to explain his duties as a driver. Isn't it a beauty, the maroon palette? Every time I look at it, I am reminded of my duty to this nation. We all owe a great debt to the men who led the country from here. Their service will not be forgotten. Have a great day, Mr. President. Economy's at 4, budget 3, wealth 1. Honestly, I don't know what I'm doing, so guess I'll be running a country from here. Read the report from Hulsor, logistical issue. Traffic. We're talking about traffic here. General staff gathers. They want support for military. We did it, Anton, we won, and finally, all those years with our noses to the grindstone paid off. Enjoying the new secretary picked up for you, thought you'd appreciate her gorgeous set of talents. It's a shame rest of your stuff aren't easy on the eyes. But hey, back in university, did you ever imagine you would be sitting here in the Mogoing Palace? Looking forward to it. Evelyn hopes to congratulate you in person there. Good to know. It's been some time since the last time I saw her. I think it was Frank's birthday. We had barely enough time for our families over these past months, haven't we? Gentlemen, you are exactly on time. Hello, Peter. Lucian, how are you? Let's start. Majority of the Swordish people demand change. They are more concerned about the economy than the constitution, but they blame the system for their problems. People are losing their trust in our democracy. Why do you think radicals like Bernard Serkis are becoming more popular? Everyone's expecting us to bring the change. The last government did not. Franz Richter, leader of the reformists, believes that the true change can only be accomplished by transferring some of our powers to the assembly. We need to listen to the people. We will need many allies against old guard in the government. Mr. Richter managed to persuade many of the members of the assembly to give their support for drafting a new constitution. Reformist politicians are quickly increasing in number. While the reformist wing inside our party is still a minority, they could have a tripartisan majority in the assembly, especially if they unite under Franz Richter. Mr. Richter could be a potential ally. The reformist demands are clear. They want to limit the president's veto powers, ensure that the Supreme Court is independent, and take away the court's right to vote on constitutional amendments. The old guard will do its best to preserve the Constitution. Chief Justice Hawker and his allied judges have a great influence over the Supreme Court, which will be tough to break. The court also has the final say over constitutional legislation. We will need a comprehensive bill. A comprehensive reform that would make the reformers happy would mean maintaining a balance between all branches of government, which means removing your absolute veto as well. However, However, to reform the Constitution, we must receive a two-thirds majority in the Grand National Assembly, which is 166 votes, and a simple majority in the Supreme Court. We must first goal must be to get the 150 signatures needed to start the process. Following the green light from the USP, we will reach out to the other parties. The entire process will take some time. The key here will be strengthening the power of the Assembly, which will lead with a majority. Yes, the divisions of power need to be rebalanced for a better Sordland. First, the Supreme Court will no longer vote on constitutional amendments. Second, the President's absolute veto will be taken away. Will reform committee together with all parties. Another important point, we must be aware of the Lofberg Group. The oligarchs convene under the organization to influence economic policies. New leader is Mr. Walter Tusk. Tusk and the group will surely try to bribe us in exchange for special economic protection. Let's not underestimate their influence. I wouldn't be so optimistic. The capital they represent could do a lot of damage if it was diverted. This more defensive Minister Los Aflancia is more loyal to us compared to General Kruger, as a fact that obviously can change with our actions. See you in the next meeting. Wow, aren't these all gonna be meetings? Interesting how this game goes. People's views on the need for democratic reform in the government structure has changed over the last decade. Reform is propaganda from the leader of the People's Freedom and Justice Party, Rent Richter, have resulted in a massive increase in demands for democratic reforms. It is estimated that currently 55% of the population supports the reformist ideas. Another meeting? What is this? Read, make decisions, read, make decisions. Congratulations. Best wishes. Wow. Okay, this looks like the main thing we're doing. Well, this seems to be the gameplay of Suzerain. As much fun as I had reading all this, I understand the concept. A little bit of interaction, a lot of reading, and you're making a country, it seems. Country better. You're gonna be the president. Maybe if you had picked the different choices, you won't be president as I was. But it seems this is how the game goes. You make decisions and run a country from the perspective I've had as the president of Soul's Sword. This is it for now. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Have a good day.